I always do that. I'm a night rider. Every time that I go up past midnight, I swear I get higher. Swear I gotta get higher now. I'm a night rider. Every time that I give what I gotta supply. I think the thing about that beat that really got me was that little chime in the beginning, that little bring. And it's perfect for the beginning of the show. And welcome back, you beautiful bookworms, to another episode of Bookmarks with Bump. I am your host, Bump. Sean Patrick Cote, National Academy of Sports Medicine certified personal trainer, as well as a certified tradesman in the state of Connecticut, a jack of all trades, a master of none, and a 7-year California sober recovering addict. Those are my credentials to be the person to give you advice on a motivational, inspirational, inspiringly stupid podcast where we go through bookmarks that I've had on the shelf, left from Twitter to X, from name to name, whatever you want to call it, whatever the game is, we're playing it. And we're going to start off the gates real hot here with, Antonio Brown has been on an absolute generational run since the Cracker of the Year Awards. The 2024 Cracker of the Year Awards was a massive hit. And AB is really just, of course he's stealing these tweets, but it's something to see when it comes from Antonio Brown. He tweeted the other day at 4:08 p.m. Actually, this was yesterday. For those of you who don't know, I record the podcast a couple days early, and I drop at 4 a.m. on Sunday. Rumor has it Mark Wahlberg is the first person to listen to every single episode. It's just him and I up at that hour. But yesterday, AB tweeted, "Don't mute me while you peeing, girl. Let me hear that Hellcat." And I thought that was really touching. I thought that was a really nice display of affection for the women in his life. He's not afraid to hear a stream. And honestly, it's natural. So shout out to AB for being all natural. We're going to get through this podcast a little bit quicker than most. Today is Valentine's Day, and I have a lovely, lovely, beautiful hot date tonight with my mother. Valentine's Day just so happens to be her birthday. It's a trend in my family. My brother and sister, who are twins, were born on Thanksgiving that year. Now, Thanksgiving changes from year to year, but the year they were born, it was indeed Thanksgiving. I was born the day before St. Patrick's Day, and my father was born on July 4th. We all have holiday birthdays, and it's cool because it's not like those holidays that you're supposed to give gifts on. You know, it's they get their own little holiday. We all have a little holiday to celebrate something extra special, and I thought it would be a nice little deal to hook my mom up tonight. My dad is working hard. He's a blue-collar boy. He's a blue-collar man, just like his blue-collar boy son. And unfortunately, he can't treat my mother to anything other than the beautiful bouquet of roses he had bought her today. So I am deciding to go on and do what's right and give her a night that she deserves. There is always somebody special in your life who deserves a little bit of pampering on Valentine's Day. Even if you don't have a partner, if you're not wifed up or manned up, there is somebody who you could do something for. And that's part of the challenge, right? So a little bit of this past week, the challenge that I was facing was making time. And that's something that I got to do moving forward. In my career right now, we're in a bit of a pickle, the company that I work for. And me being me, I am Mr. Reliable. Right now in my life, I have no wife, no kids. I just signed a lease on an apartment, so I'm saving for furniture, and hopefully I'm going to have like enough of a little stowaway of throwaway cash to buy what I deem as an essential in this apartment here. I want a feng shui waterfall, like a small little rock waterfall to put on the wall in my apartment. I just think something about that will provide so much chi to my space. And I think that chi is something that every space needs in one way or another. Some people can do it with wind chimes. A lot of people you see do it with Christmas lights around their room. specifically girls on TikTok and Instagram Reels. Um, my source of chi has always been the water. I'm a guy who loves to be by the water. I feel like the water is my happy place. Um, some witchy type people will probably say that it's due to the fact that I was born in March. I'm a Pisces. I'm too fishy swimming in a circle, and so I'm supposed to be by the water. Nonetheless, it does bring me a large amount of peace. So that's why the waterfall will be on my wall. Nonetheless, I have been working a tremendous amount, and it's not like something that I scoff at when they ask me if I can do this, right? And I think this is my bit of advice before we get into the topics here, especially when you work in a area where your job is considered a career. I know that my job is not just a job. I've had jobs before, delivering pizza, stocking shelves. There was a 2-week stint that I worked at McDonald's until I found a more efficient way to get things done, and I got yelled at for it, which in turn turned me into, you know, I always I go ahead and die on my sword more often than I should. And that was a moment where I did, and I ended up getting fired from McDonald's. One of the only 2 jobs that I was ever fired from out of the many jobs that I had had in the past. But nonetheless, there's a difference between a job and a career. And when you're working a career and you're asked to do more, a feasible amount more, right? Like it's not like I'm getting asked to do 40 things at once throughout the course of my day. I was granted an opportunity. This is an opportunity to advance in my career. It's an opportunity to show how responsible I am, and it's an opportunity to show how much responsibility I put into the job itself. And that's the way you have to look at these things when your bosses come to you in your career oriented position. You have to just take them in stride and be grateful that you were asked, be grateful that you were deemed responsible enough to be given an opportunity to do more. Doing more in your career is only going to help you move further. So I took on this opportunity, and I've been running with it now for the last, I think it's been, I don't know. I think the last day I had off was January 19th. Nothing has changed outside of working an extra, I don't know. I think it equates to like 13 hours. Nonetheless, I'm making more money, which is a benefit, but I'm also inspiring myself by still finding times to do the things that matter. Making time for friends, making time for the gym still, making time for my runs. There's always an excuse, right? But your reasons should always outweigh your excuses. For instance, this week we've been pounded constantly with snow. It seems like it snowed 3 days this week out of the 7. So we've dealt with poorly maintained sidewalks. The trails are completely uncharted at this point. I can't run on the trails that I usually run on after my lift at the gym while I'm still in that area. So I had taken to the treadmill, something that I absolutely hate to do. And I still made time for my run. I still made time for the gym. And when I was at the gym yesterday, I made time for somebody else. And that's something that I don't really usually do at the gym. When I'm there, I'm locked in, I'm doing what I got to do and moving on because I really want to just get home, make my dinner, and go to sleep because I still have to run after I lift. Nonetheless, we have this really awesome kid at this gym that I'm going to, and his name is Jacob. He's 16 years old. He has a mental incapacity, but it doesn't stop him from going in there and lifting, and he just happens to be the thing in that gym that's making everybody's day. He is the person who's putting a smile on everybody's face. And I've taken a real liking to him because the fact that he's there is inspiring to me. The fact that he's consistent is inspiring to me. And I learned that he was 16 years old, and that was inspiring to me as well. Because you don't see a lot of 16-year-olds in the iron paradise pushing weight. But he is, and he is on a consistent basis. And I saw him yesterday, and I go, Jacob, what are you hitting today? And he said that he was doing back. And I said, I'm doing back too. And as I walked away, I walked over to the pull-down machine, and I looked behind me, and he's there. And he's like, I want to work out with you today. And I don't know if it's just my physique that made him say that, or maybe it's just the way that I've been so welcoming and gracious to him. But that lit me up, man. And I thought it was a great opportunity for me to show him some of the things that I do. And it was a great opportunity as well for me to flex my personal training muscles, see if I still got it. And honestly, this kid was coaching me along much better than I ever could with him. And we spent the whole workout together. And he surprised himself on a few lifts, and I surprised myself on a few lifts. And it was really just man. It was the best part of my week was working out with Jacob. And I don't think he listens to this podcast, and I know he doesn't listen to this podcast, but I want to thank Jacob for giving me that moment, giving me that time, and giving me the opportunity to share such an inspiring story. He had a few moments where he's like, I've never done this before. Uh, Shortly after he had told me he's done everything, but he told me that he's never done it before. And when he finished with his set, he looked at me with like faces of amazement and shock in himself. And after every single set, just giving him a pound and telling him good job. And he would do the same thing to me. When I would put my weight on the rack, he would say, that's crazy. That's crazy. He would call out the number and go, wow. And it was a really good feeling to have somebody cheer me on like that. Jacob is the man, honestly. And when you see people who have these types of disabilities and you interact with them on a daily basis, you have to take it for what it is. There are people who are completely able-bodied, able-minded, able-bodied, but not able-spirited. Jacob has an able spirit. And I know that throughout the course of the rest of Jacob's life, he's 16 years old, throughout the course of the rest of his life, the only thing that's ever going to hold him back is going to be something that's outside of himself. He is going to achieve everything that he wants to achieve because he thinks and he feels and he knows inside of his heart that he can. And I think that's something that we could all walk away with. We could all walk away with an able spirit. So never tell yourself you can't. Never make excuses. Every time that there's an excuse, there's a reason that should be more powerful, especially when it comes to your life in fitness and your life in the gym. It is something that is very crucial and critical for the rest of your life. The number one injury prevention for falls moving forward in your life is going to be weightlifting. I'm not sure if anybody saw a couple weeks ago, but I took a pretty nasty fall outside on the ice, and I thought it was great because we were able to capture it on camera, and I just disappeared from the frame, and the fall became a great source of promotion for the podcast, and I'm going to continue to use it moving forward, but I swear, if I wasn't made of so I have a 16% body fat, probably like maybe 30% of my weight is the bones in my body. So 16 and 30, that would be 46. If I didn't have 54% of my body weight as lean mass, I probably would have broken every bone from my elbow all the way to my shoulder with the way I landed. I went to grab the passenger handle, and the next thing you know, I'm looking at my hand, I'm looking at the passenger handle, and then I'm looking at my feet above my head as I'm falling backwards. And I hit the ground really, really hard. You could hear the sound on the video, and I just popped right back up. And what do you know? Here I am today, a week and a half later, and I'm completely fine. So moving on, let's get into some threads here. Gun to the head is what I titled this. And if somebody put a gun to my head and said, lose 30 pounds in the next 10 weeks or I'll kill you, here's exactly what I do. This is put out by Rob Fit Legacy. He has a very serious face in these photos here. I encourage you to follow along with the links in the description with every thread that I read as you're listening to this podcast. The thread goes on to say, step 1, multiply body weight by 10. That's my calorie goal. Take body weight in pounds, then eat that many grams in protein. Fill the rest of my calories with carbs and fats I enjoy. Example, at 250 pounds, I should be eating 2,500 calories a day, 250 grams of protein, which is the equivalent of 1,000 calories. The remaining 1,500 calories comes from carbs and fats that I like. And this is a definite way to be sustainable. You hear about a lot of fad diets. They are exactly what they are. Fads are meant to die, and diets are meant to die. The first three letters in the word diet is die, because that is what will happen if that's the hill that you die on. Your goals will die if you stick to a diet. You have to stick to a routine. And finding a way to make this enjoyable is something that's going to make it long-lasting and sustainable for you. Step 2 is to focus on highly satiating foods. Consistency is key, and hunger is the number one reason diets fail. To stay full while losing fat, I'd focus on these. Lean proteins: chicken breast, fish, and Greek yogurt. High fiber vegetables like broccoli, spinach, and peppers, and slow digesting carbs like oats, potatoes, and rice. I'd reduce snacking and completely ditch the highly processed addictive crap. I'd eat hard-boiled eggs, low-fat cheese sticks, and popcorn that's low-calorie. I definitely agree with this. What I've done in the last 3 months is kind of phase out protein bars from my overall eating or my overall consumption completely, which has helped me tremendously. I've weekly weigh-in, we're back. I'm back under 200 pounds, cruising steadily towards my goal of 180. I'd like to be in between 185 and 175 by the summer, by the end of summer, when I plan on running a marathon to qualify for Boston. I'd love to be in that weight range, and if I continue on the path that I'm on, I will be working at that. I'm losing about 1 to 2 pounds a week right now, weighing in at 197 yesterday. So, reduce the snacking. And step 3 is to track everything. What gets measured gets managed. Calories and protein using CalorieBot, an AI tool available. Weight, daily weigh-ins for weekly averages, and progress pics every 2 to 4 weeks to see changes. Step 4 is to train smarter and not longer. He would follow one of his own minimalist resistance training plans to retain muscle and burn fat. And there's a 4-day split. Day 1, upper body. Incline Smith machine press. 3 sets at 6 to 12 reps. Lat pull down, 3 sets at 6 to 12 reps. Cable lateral raise. 3 sets at 10 to 15 reps. Day 2 is a lower body with hack squats. Same sets, same reps. Romanian deadlift, same. And Bulgarian split squats, same. Now, this to me seems like a very low volume plan with a lot of intensity with that rep range. You're able to really pump up the weights in a 6 to 12 rep set. So I think what you're going to look for here is very clean, controlled, proper form movements to help you engage the most muscles as possible. Hack squats, Romanian deadlifts, and Bulgarian split squats. Bulgarian split squats are a huge exercise that are great for the extension of the ankle, as well as the flexion and extension in the hips, which also helps your quadriceps muscles to begin with. Hack squats are extremely quad dominant. Romanian deadlifts are they're a real burner for your hamstrings. You have a day 3 of rest where you should be walking. Every rest day you have should be an active rest day. Always find time to get your 10,000 steps in. Go for a 3-mile walk. It takes an hour. Pop on a podcast and enjoy some sunlight. Day 4 is a push and pull day where you're doing seated shoulder press. There's your push. Seated row. There's your pull. And a chest fly. Another pull. And then day 5 is lower body. Second lower body day, which is huge. You should always be training your legs 2 times a week. They are the largest group of muscles on your body. It's very hard to hit them all and not burn yourself out in one day. Hip thrust, 3 sets at 6 to 12 reps. Leg extension, 3 sets at 8 to 12. And the seated leg curl at 3 sets of 8 to 12. Really hitting everything there. You're hitting your glutes isolated. You're hitting your quads isolated, and you're hitting your hamstrings isolated. All of those isolated movements. And days 6 to 7 are rest and walking. Walk on the weekend. Take a nice rest. Step 5 is to walk daily. Walking is the most underrated way to burn calories without stressing your body. Oh, God. Is that the first yawn of the podcast? That's how you know I've really been making time. Anyway, this guy, Rob, Fit Legacy, he aims for 10,000 steps a day. Hey, I just said that. A quick walk after meals helps aid digestion and blood sugar control. Step 6 is to prioritize recovery. Fat loss is tough on your body, so recovery is key. Focus on 7+ hours of sleep per night. Stress management, time outside, journaling, mindfulness, nutrient-dense foods. Don't just hit your macros. Fuel your body with quality. Step 7, and this is the biggest step, and this is something that I will harp on forever. Stay consistent and patient. You didn't gain weight overnight, so don't expect to lose it overnight. I'd stick to this plan 90% of the time. No cheat days, and track your calories even during off meals. Consistency is greater than perfection, and this is absolutely true. It takes a lot of time. It took me almost a year to lose 100 pounds. Never did I get veered off course. Ooh, I have another first here. Hold on. This should be good. All right. Stick to the plan 90% of the time. No cheat days. Stay consistent, and it's very important to stay consistent. Hey, Roach, you're live. You're on the podcast. Say hello to the listeners of Bookmarks with Bump.
This is a dangerous situation to put me in.
Absolutely is, and I'm so happy that you're here. Is there anything you'd like to share with the listeners?
I'm not PR trained for this, and I think that I should get out of here.
Well, here's the deal, man. Today is Friday, February 14th. The Philadelphia Eagles just had their Super Bowl parade. Do you have anything to say, being the biggest Eagles fan I know?
Go Birds.
Go Birds, absolutely. What a nice little pop-in that was from a good buddy Roach. Been friends probably 12, 13, so many years I can't even count them. We'll move on, but consistency is the most important thing, and that's what I was talking about earlier with making time. There's always time to do the things that you care about, and when you do them, it shows yourself how much you do care about these things. So no matter what you're up against, no matter what the obstacles are, you just got to keep moving forward, especially when you have goals in mind. Keep at them. No matter what roadblocks arise, no matter if you think you're not making any progress, progress is a very, very slow trickle-down effect that starts with consistency. I have here a thread labeled the Big Five, and it's by the Fit Fast Coach. You're not broken. You're just missing a few key pieces. If you're struggling with stubborn fat despite exercising and eating right, it's a clear sign you're overlooking some critical areas. Here are the Big Five. Number 1 is gut health. Your gut health impacts your hormonal balance, metabolism, how you process calories, and store fat. To sustain your desired physique, you must heal your gut and nurture a healthy gut microbiome. A thriving gut is equivalent to a thriving you. What to do? No alcohol. Easy. No coffee on an empty stomach. Ooh. Hydrate well for smooth digestion, collagen, L-glutamine to repair gut lining, psyllium husk and veggies for prebiotics, and fermented foods, kimchi, kraut, kefir for probiotics. P.S. If you're a busy professional, advertisement, no free ads. Number 2 is hydration. Even 2% dehydration drains your energy. It tanks your cognition and ramps up stress. Worse, it tricks your body into snacking just to get water from food. These are silent fat loss killers. Use this simple test to see if you're underhydrated. If you're dehydrated, the skin loses elasticity. So it's a pinching test on your knuckles. Go ahead and follow along with the threads that are linked in the description to see exactly what this test is. What to do. Morning hydration elixir. Carry a glass water bottle always. 50% of your weight in fluid ounces per day. Eat fruit, berries, kiwi, apple, watermelon. P.S. Electrolyte drinks are scams. Less than a tenth of a percent of society needs them. You do not. Best way to start your day is 20 ounces of water, half an organic lemon, and a pinch of Himalayan salt. Benefits are that it rehydrates you, replenishes as many as 84 essential minerals and electrolytes, increases your energy, and detoxifies your liver while jumpstarting your metabolism. What more could you ask for? 3 is stress. Stress equals elevated cortisol, which is equal to stubborn fat, which is equal to more stress. When clients break this cycle using the mindfulness techniques I teach them at Forever Fit and Flourishing, their energy, here we go, more free ads. This guy is a free advertisement machine. Their energy and mood improves, and the scale starts moving again. Eventually, they shed their stubborn fat. What to do is improve your recovery. Skip passive recovery like Netflix. It's too inefficient. Do active recovery instead. Meditate and journal to become more in tune with your body. Then deploy meaningful self-care. Massages, nature walks, salt baths, whenever your body needs it. Number 4 is sleep. Poor sleep will disrupt your ghrelin and leptin levels, so you want to overeat and rob you of energy and willpower so you can't resist. Subpar sleep is a key reason you make bad food choices and skip the gym. Leptin is a chemical that is relative to your fullness. It's like your fullness meter. It's a hormone that our body releases when we're telling ourselves we are full, we have had enough food. It's not apparently, it's actually whenever you are losing sleep, you're not recovering as fast, your brain isn't recovering as fast, which means your central nervous system is taking a hit. So you're not going to release the hormones from your adrenal glands like you need to. So, what to do? My clients use a pre-bed checklist so they can get restful, high-quality sleep, which helps them see results faster. Create one for yourself. Make sure it covers pre-bed nutrition, temperature, nervous system downregulation, and use your list daily, which is added in this thread here. Number 5, and here's a consistent thing, consistency. Much like the last and most important part of the last thread, consistency is the hidden horseman. Everyone thinks they're consistent until I give them my habit audit exercise. Then they learn they're not. Small slip-ups are sneaky. They go unnoticed, quietly stall your progress, and can trap you in a lifetime struggle with your weight. What to do? Track key metrics. Quit wasting time and energy on low return on investment activity. Streamline your must-dos for max efficiency. Create a sustainable plan that adapts to your seasonal, work, and family changes, and make yourself accountable to somebody. If you're serious. Yeah, allow somebody to check in on you. Allow somebody to hit you, not hit you, but hit you up and say, hey, man, are you doing what you're supposed to? And yeah, it can be annoying, but if you really are about this, it's never going to be annoying to you. You're going to appreciate that person 6 months down the road when you're hitting every single goal that you wanted to achieve. Let's see. Moving on to why smart people get stuck. There's a cost to overthinking, and this is why smart people get stuck. Let's dive in. Number 1 is the paralysis paradox. The more options you can see, the harder it becomes to choose any of them. Your ability to spot problems makes you excellent at planning but terrible at starting. You know too much to be naively confident, but not enough to be truly certain. This is why less intelligent people often achieve more. They simply start. The intelligence trap. Your brain is designed to solve problems, but it creates them when there are none. You can always find a reason why something might not work if you look hard enough. The same intelligence that got you ahead in school now keeps you stuck in life. Your overthinking is actually a sign of untapped potential, seeking an outlet. Number 3 is the hidden advantage. Overthinkers make the best strategists once they learn how to channel their gift. Your ability to see problems in advance can prevent costly mistakes. Your tendency to analyze deeply makes you excellent at optimization. The key isn't thinking less. It's learning when to stop thinking and start doing, much like the paralysis paradox, where you get caught in thinking and you never start, even though you have a really good plan. To be a strategist is definitely an advantage in life. And I think that's one thing that comes with structure and routine. Once you find your routine, once you find the things that are the most important to you, you always find a way to put it into your life. And you stop that little paralysis, that thought like, oh, when should I do this? How should I do this? It's known that you're going to do it no matter what. So whatever your day consists of, you just got to push through. Number 4 is the escape route. Set hard deadlines for decisions. When time's up, you must choose. Create action triggers that bypass your thinking brain completely. Use your overthinking power only after you've started moving. Let momentum become stronger than your mind's resistance. I love that. I love that. And I love that about running, too. You really get to exercise that escape route by just going, create action triggers. I think that's what my run really is for me, is an action trigger. And while I'm out there on my run, which sometimes it's like, am I about to do this right now? It's raining. Or am I about to do this right now? I'm a little bit tired. It's dark. Whatever the excuse is, the reason is always there. Like I said, that's the kind of message I'm sending with today's podcast, I guess. Your overthinking power is it's important once you start moving. When I'm out there on a run, I'm often thinking about things that I need to take care of, and I'm building a little checklist. And then right when I'm done with my run, it's right there for me. It's probably the most clear my mind is on a day-to-day basis. It allows me to think about the things that matter or not think at all and move and meditate. And number 5, the ultimate truth. Analysis and action are different phases that should never overlap. Overthinking isn't your enemy. Poor timing of thought is. You don't need to change who you are just when you deploy your strengths. Wow. You don't need to change who you are just when you deploy your strengths. Sometimes your strengths are some things that can be, it could be an annoyance to people. So when you're using your strengths, you're really actually taking away from yourself, even though your intentions are good or you're doing what you're best at. Sometimes what you're best at isn't there for all the time. It's for the best time. The last thing on this list is your overthinking mind is a superpower when used at the right moment, much like the other ones did. There's a counterintuitive solution. Don't try to stop overthinking. It's part of your intellectual gift. Instead, contain it to designed thinking time, then act without revision. We could always second guess ourselves, and that's the importance to consistency as well. Like as you're going along and you want to stop doing the things that you're doing that you're trying to make a positive impact on your life with, you can overthink yourself into not doing what you are supposed to be doing to help advance your life. It's a very interesting little paradox you're caught in. And there was a nice paradox over the weekend. I mentioned it earlier in the podcast. The Super Bowl parade happened today.
Here we go! Buck, here we go! Here we go! Here we go! Here we go! Yeah, here we go!
And if there's a parade, that means there was a game. And the Super Bowl was won by the Philadelphia Eagles, your 2024-2025 NFL World Champions. The Eagles went on to really just roll over the Chiefs the same way that the Bucs did. In a different way as well, though, because the story about the Eagles winning this is so great because of how they won. Saquon Barkley was limited in that game. He did not perform to the standard that he had set for himself all season. Despite that, the Eagles won 40-22 against the Kansas City Chiefs, who didn't score a single point in the first half. Saquon Barkley was limited to 57 yards on 25 carries, which that's great for the offensive coordinator to continue to call the run plays and not take away and make the game a one-dimensional game. Because the best thing about this is what everybody said about the Philadelphia Eagles was that they're a one-dimensional team. And Saquon Barkley is the reason the Eagles win. They say this about a team whose head coach has the highest winning percentage of all active coaches right now and was 9-1 at one point in the season while his head was being called for. He was on the hot seat. Nick Sirianni was on a hot seat in the middle of the season, same season that he won the Super Bowl. Okay? The Joe Shane and John Morrow were talking on Hard Knocks about Saquon Barkley and how the Chicago Bears were the highest bidders and the Philadelphia Eagles are out. And look at them. The Philadelphia Eagles are a lot further along than out. I mean, the Giants were out 4 weeks before the Eagles won the Super Bowl. I mean, it was an incredible game. Jalen Hurts throws for 17 for 22, which is really kind of 17 for 21 because he threw one interception early in the game, and it was a poorly timed throw. And that's really like the only flaw about Jalen Hurts at all, period, is sometimes when he's flustered, he gets panicked and he makes the wrong decision. A ball that very easily could have gone out of bounds went down the field and was intercepted. And he tends to have what you call, I guess, bonehead moments at times like that. He kind of loses his composure, which is so interesting to me because he seems like the most composed person on the football field at all times. But 17 for 22, 221 yards. Kenny Pickett played 3 series. Like, that's the type of game that the Eagles had. They pulled their starters in the Super Bowl, just rubbing it in the faces of everybody. Weeks after they said they ran up the score on the Washington Commanders, it looks like Patrick Mahomes had a good game with 257 yards. But he was held to 24 yards. And it was really the Philly defense that took over with Vic Fangio, who everybody was saying was Vic Fangiover. Like, that is the thing about this Super Bowl that's so sweet. Everything that everybody was saying was being shot down in real time. The Eagles were able to open up the pass game and really, because they continued to run the ball, they still had that threat, but Jalen Hurts played his best game of all time. Not only did he have an extremely high completion rate, but he rushed for 72 yards on 11 carries. He found the right running lanes every single time it was time to get out of the pocket. 2 touchdowns through the air, 1 touchdown on the ground. Just 40-22 is so crazy in the Super Bowl. I mean, just complete dominance. They wrote defensive history on Sunday, and there's a thread that goes along with this. They held the Chiefs to 23 first-half yards, forced 3 turnovers, including a pick 6 by Cooper DeJean, and they never blitzed once. They brought 4 rushers every time, and that's the key to beating the Chiefs, is rushing Mahomes, getting him flustered, and hitting him. He was hit 11 times throughout the game, but it's the same thing that the Buccaneers did. They were able to rush the passer and keep everybody back in the secondary with a team full of great secondary players. I mean, that's what the Eagles did. They rebuild their secondary and bolstered their roster in that area for this season, and it was the recipe they needed to beat the Chiefs. That's not the whole story. Here's how they really shut down Patrick Mahomes in Super Bowl. I guess this is 59. So LIX is 59. They delivered one of the most dominant defensive performances in NFL history. Their 40-22 victory over the Chiefs wasn't nearly as close as the score suggests. Here's what made this truly remarkable. In the first half, the Chiefs had a 5% success rate and a negative 1.36 EPA dropback. They shut down Patrick Mahomes, a 3-time Super Bowl champion and 2-time MVP, without blitzing. Not once. On 42 dropbacks, they rushed just 4 defenders every single time. The numbers tell a shocking story. There was 23 total yards in the first half. The first down was before halftime. 3 turnovers forced. 6 sacks, and a 47% pressure rate. 16 pressures without a single blitz. But the real genius was in their game plan. Defensive coordinator Vic Fangio had lost to Mahomes 8 straight times. He knew blitzing wouldn't work. Mahomes is too good at recognizing pressure and finding the open man. And that's a benefit to Travis Kelce. He's able to provide that as well. When he sees a blitz, he knows where to go on the field to be open. That's what makes Mahomes and Kelce so great, not the referees. He knew blitzing wouldn't work. Mahomes is too good, so he tried something different. The solution was simple, beautifully. Rush 4, drop 7 in the coverage. They played zone on all but 2 dropbacks, with quarters being their primary scheme, 59.5% of the plays. They let their dominant defensive line handle the pressure, while the secondary locked down in the zone. But they needed the right personnel to execute this plan. Enter their defensive stars, who were Josh Sweat, 2.5 sacks and 6 total pressures, Milton Williams, 2 sacks, including a strip sack, and Jalen Carter, who consistently collapsed the pocket. Then came the moment that changed everything. Rookie Cooper DeJean out of Iowa intercepted Mahomes and returned it 38 yards for a touchdown. Pick 6, 17-0 Eagles. The Chiefs never recovered, but the defensive onslaught was far from over. Minutes later, linebacker Zach Bond made a diving interception at the Chiefs' 14-yard line, and the Eagles scored again, 24-0 at halftime. Mahomes had his worst first-half performance in a Super Bowl, with a passer rating of just 10.7. The defensive masterclass continued. The Eagles led the league this season in defensive snaps by rookie contract players, pass rush win rate, say that 10 times fast, by rookie deal players, third in sacks, third in tackles. Their youth movement paid off at the perfect time. By keeping their defensive spending low through smart drafting, they could afford to load up on offensive weapons. Their 9th highest paid QB, 3rd highest paid RB, and 2 wide receivers making $25 million a year. The strategy was brilliant, but their team building was even better. Build through the draft on defense, spend in free agency on offense, and the result is a perfectly balanced team that dominated on both sides of the ball. But there's one final fascinating detail. The Eagles' defensive success came from simplicity. With the no exotic blitzes and no complicated schemes, just 4 dominant rushers and disciplined zone coverage with better players across the board. Sometimes the best solution is the simplest one. The Eagles had better players all year. And the analytics told us they were the better team all year, but we didn't listen, and neither did Vegas. It wasn't just random success. It was calculated, precise, data-driven. We should have seen it all along. The future of football belongs to those who can read the patterns, analyze the tendencies, and predict the plays. So shout out to Scott Boska for the thread, kind of recapping the defense of that Super Bowl that made it so sweet and dominant for the Philadelphia Eagles. EAGLES Eagles. A team that's always had so much grit, and a team that I respect. I feel like to me, they're the Patriots of the NFC. They just play with grit. They play hard-nosed football, and they just have players who will die for that team. Howie Roseman took a beer can to the head today and said, "I bleed for this city," which is iconic because he would have years ago. People hated the guy, and it's just the Eagles are a great story. Everybody counted them out, and they knew what they were capable of. It's the perfect. They're always, and it's always like that for them too. They're the perfect underdog team and the perfect underdog city, and they get to celebrate another Super Bowl once again, and a well-deserved one. They played out of their minds. They looked good all season, and they had a giant chip on their shoulder thanks to the media. And from me to ya, I appreciate all of you for listening. Please, like, subscribe, leave a comment or a rating on whatever platform of your choosing. I'd like to know what's the challenge? What are you making time for? What's your I'm making time for things this week challenge? Challenge yourself this week, and let me know in the comments what your challenge is, and I'll keep you accountable. I'll help keep you accountable on that because I don't know. Jacob's got my personal trainer muscle activating. Nonetheless, I'm out of here. It's time to take Mama out. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. And as always, it's all love. God bless. Show you what it's worth. Money to the ceiling. I started at the dirt. I've been riding, wave like I surf. I've been leaning in and out of work. I could show you what it's worth. Money to the ceiling. I started at the dirt. I'm a night rider. Every time that I go out past midnight, I swear I get higher. Swear I gotta get higher now. I'm a night rider. Every time that I give what I got, I supply that fire. I supply that fire, man. I'm a night rider. Every time that I go out past midnight, I swear I get higher. Swear I gotta get higher now. I'm a night rider. Every time that I go out past midnight, I swear I get higher. Swear I gotta get higher, man.